Is there a situation or an event that you view that could potentially lead to the collapse of Bitcoin?
I think the way to understand Bitcoin is everything you learned in economics and about money in your entire life was pseudoscience, and superstitious. So I think all the smart money, all the smart people in the world that don't trust the bank, don't trust the currency, want to keep their money, they're all discovering Bitcoin.
It's been quite the journey, buddy.
Yeah, and I thought I was just going to retire into obscurity in 2020. And then COVID hit, the world turned upside down, everything stopped, and Bitcoin presented itself. And
what I find fascinating, a lot of people don't know this, is you discovered Bitcoin not in 2010 or 2014 or 2018, but as a result of COVID. Remember being with you in Miami, you were telling the story, I'm going, that's incredible.
I heard about it back 8-9 years earlier. I think I tweeted very famously in 2013 that it was interesting, but I thought it would go the way of online gambling and get banned. And then I forgot that I tweeted that. And then in August of 2020, I tweeted that I bought $250 million of it. And at that time, it didn't occur to me that I was the first person to publicly announce that I'd spent that much money. Then, on my Twitter, or my X account now, I have this phrase, Bitcoin is a swarm of cyber hornets. And the cyber hornets were all the people on the internet, like the person that made that video. That was not me. I did not make that video.
I know, of course not.
But they're always doing that. And so one of the hornets scanned every single thing I tweeted in my entire life, and they dredged this up. They're like, ha, 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 look how much money you lost. You could have bought it $100 or something. And I just kind of recycled the Bitcoin trope, which is, I said, everybody gets Bitcoin, the price they deserve.
Speaking about the ups and downs and so forth, you have extraordinary tolerance for risk and resiliency, I think is the right word. I drudged this up. On the left is an article from 2000, lost $6 billion in a day. And then on the right is February, that's the wrong date, 2024, not 2000, where you made $700 million in a day. How do you sleep at night with that kind of fluctuation?
You just got to have a mission, right? Yeah, you got to have a mission in your life. So you can't really control the fluctuations in the market. You can control your reactions to them. So in this particular case, my view on Bitcoin is the reason to do it is because it represents freedom and sovereignty, truth, integrity, and hope for the world. And that being the case, it's going to outlast all of us. So, I'm kind of thinking the Bitcoin goes on long after MicroStrategy's gone, and MicroStrategy, the company, probably goes on long after I'm gone. And, my view is if we're remembered for advocating and accelerating the adoption of Bitcoin throughout the world, then that will have been success, and I don't need anything else.
It's amazing.
And I'll take the beatings as they come or go in order to get to that end goal, because I'm sure it doesn't come without turbulence.
But the conviction that you've had that's guided you consistently, right? Does that go to first principle thinking of physics here? Of this is just not going to go down, this is going to go up, there's only going to be so many and so forth. Is that first principle thinking that led you to make this commitment in the face of everybody else questioning it?
I think one of the great things about MIT is that it teaches you to think, and also it teaches you to start from first principles. And the combination of that and aeronautical engineering, where you have to build a machine that will fly through the air or through space by combining, all manner of engineering. I think that makes you confident. My first memory of MIT was the materials engineering professor. He walks out and he says, here's a tile that just burned off the space shuttle. and NASA doesn't know why it burned off, and we don't know how to fix it. What do you think? And it was 18-year-old kids, and we're all 500 of us, we're sitting in a room, and a guy who's a consultant for NASA looks at us and he says, NASA doesn't know the solution, but what is the solution? Everybody looks at each other, and you could see, first we're all like, well, did I miss the reading? Like, was this in a reading? And then you're like, and then you have this dawning, horrifying observation that the answer to this question is not in any book written in the history of the world. And the guy that had NASA with the original problem sent it to a professor who knows more than you know, who's telling you he doesn't know the answer, but he's asking you. And so first you're thinking, I didn't read the reading. And then second, you're like scared. And then some kid in the front row raises his hand and says, well, have you thought about changing, the lamination on the composites? And everybody else looks and they're like, the professor's going to call the kid an idiot, right? And we're all afraid. And he goes, no, that's a good idea. That's what I thought too. And we tried that, but that didn't work. And then we all go. And then the next kid, raises the hand. And then you think, I guess they actually expect us to think for ourselves. And that was how MIT started. And it just continued along that line. And so if anything, when I left MIT, my thought was, you have to work excessively hard. Don't be afraid of hard work, but you can solve the problem. And that's what they do here.
Let's talk about real estate as a store of value. It too can sublimate.
Yeah, so when you say, what is the question?
Tax,
what do I think of it?
Real estate itself as a store of value.
So what I think is, of course, if you just describe Bitcoin as digital property, a store of value, all of the popular criticisms go away, and everyone that hates Bitcoin would completely flip once they understood it isn't a currency. So people just ought to say it's a property, it's not a currency, and every one of those criticisms and weaknesses is no longer relevant. The second thing I say on store of value is, it's kind of silly to fight to be a digital currency because there's $900 trillion of wealth in the world, 400 trillion of it wants to be store of value. Only 1 trillion wants to be a medium of exchange. No, go to a wealthy person and ask them what percentage of their wealth is in their checking account. It's like 1%, maybe. No wealthy person is holding more than 1% in ready cash. So it's not even worth fighting for. Like, you can fight the government to be a currency, but you're just fighting someone that's got guns and police force, etc. The store of value is the use case that matters. And another word for store of value is property. And the third word for store of value is capital. And if we just thought this is digital capital, now you get to profound idea, right? Which is, there's capital in the economy. Where is it sitting? Well, it's sitting in buildings. We've monetized buildings. A rich person goes, and I know a lot of wealthy people, they make a fortune, and what they do is they just go buy real estate that they don't need. They buy apartments they don't need. I mean, everybody can pick up the paper and they can see examples. People buy trophy assets and they buy buildings and they buy land they don't need. Land banks. So real estate is a way to fight inflation or to preserve capital over the long term. Another way to do it is I invested in a company, or I attempt to pick the right stock, a Magnificent Seven stock. A third way to do it is with art. I mean, Velázquez in the 16th century travels from Spain to Italy. He wants to buy all the great art, and he's got the King of Spain's checkbook and an infinite budget, and he complains nobody will sell him the art because all the rich people in Italy are using it as store of value so they can flee with their portable, scarce, desirable property when they have to leave town, or they're using it as an inflation hedge. And I kid you not, go read Will Durant's, history of the Renaissance, and he notes it's an inflation hedge and a store in value 500 years ago. So that's the way people think. Why is Bitcoin better? It's better because The problem with storing billions of dollars in a building is the building can't run and the building can't hide, and everybody knows a rich person owns the building and therefore we're going to tax them. I mean, I just give you a simple question. I'm going to give you $1 billion right now. I'm going to drop you in Africa. What building in Africa are you going to buy in what country and hold for 100 years?
I was happy to share this video with you so that we know more information about Bitcoin. If you like this video, leave a like and subscribe. Tell us what you think.